So now I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to take off the master cylinder here, and I'm going to take off the brake booster. I'm going to separate it from the reservoir right here, so that way I'll get no fluid coming out, and I could just kind of leave this dangling for now. And once I'm ready, I think I'm going to do all the brake lines once I have the body off, that is. So I'm just going to separate all this stuff and get that off the body, and then I can move on to the last step, which is going to be electrical. And then anything underneath, I already have the seats out now, and the floor plans look great. Flintstoned, both of them. But we're going to fix those, not to worry about it. And underneath, you got a couple breather lines, and you have, if I'm not mistaken, a brake line in the back, but I can throw those on video just to show you where they're at. Alright, so now I'm going to be disconnecting the brake booster and the clutch master cylinder. So you got a pin. You got a pin on there. Alright, you got to take off so you can separate the master cylinder from the clutch pedal. And also with the brake booster, you have a pin on this side somewhere, right there. That little sketchy looking clip pin, whatever you want to call it. You got to take that out so you can separate the brake booster from your brake pedal. After you disconnect those clips, you're going to take out these two nuts, one on top, one on the bottom for the master cylinder, for the clutch right here. And I'm just going to separate that. I'm going to leave it hanging for a little bit. And this, the brake booster, I'm going to separate it. It's kind of hard to see right now. But you got two bolts on either side of the brake reservoir. So I'm going to pull that off. It's going to kind of dangle right in front, and then that'll allow me to pull out the brake booster, pull out this little stand thing right here, pull that off the body, because again, you know, we're taking off the body off this Jeep. We want everything on that firewall to be off. All right, now I'm trying not to make this video 1,000 hours long. I'll just kind of tell you what I'm going to do, and I'll show you what I've done. Also, a good reminder to just label stuff. It's supposed to be bed ground, and we'll go from there. Alright, so like I told you guys, I would stop whenever I ran into a problem, and I'd show you guys so you guys didn't have to run into the same thing. So I got the brake booster off. I ended up not taking this off because I couldn't get to these top bolts. They're so close to the steering column inside that I just ended up separating the brake booster here, which was easy with a 1/2 inch ratcheting wrench. Just get in here, you have enough room to do it. I separated the reservoir from the brake booster first, just these two bolts on the sides, okay, and then I was able to just take the brake booster right out. Obviously I had to take out the linkage that went inside the body. Second, I took out the master cylinder right here, just unhooked it from the clutch pedal, just undid these two bolts. And another good practice to do is to put the nuts back on to the bolts. Alright, just so you won't lose them. You don't have to put them in a bin or put them in a bag or anything like that. They'll always be there. Same with the brake booster. I just left the nuts on the back of the studs. Alright, but now I also disconnected the steering linkage here. Just took the bolt completely out, kind of separated it a little bit and pulled it. It's very new, so it's not rusted. Alright, so that was easy. Now I'm on to the wiring. I took out the map sensor here. All I did was unplug it, and all I did was unplug the plug and the vacuum line. And I labeled it, if you can see that, it just says map, it's upside down. But so I just did that instead of trying to get to these 1/4 inch bolts back there to connect it to the body. So I just figured I'll just label it. There's not many plugs over that way, so it's pretty self-explanatory, but I labeled it anyway. Along with another bed ground that I took off of right there. And right now, this vacuum line coming out of here is going to this check valve, which is going to that vacuum line there. So I just disconnected it here, so that'll come off with the body. Now this is the last piece on the firewall that I have left. Okay. So if we go in here, this is underneath. All right. There's my pedals right there. Come up. You see it come out of the body there. So that's what we want to take out. Now I have that plug right there. And I have another plug, which is right here, which I don't know what this goes to, honestly. It was unplugged. It's always been unplugged since I bought it. So I'm just going to snake this through up over the wires, over the steering column. And then I could take that grommet out and take those wires out and leave them hanging. And that should leave the firewall completely disconnected. Except for these bars that are going to the radiator. That's going to be the last thing I do. Just because I don't have to figure out what to do with the radiator. Just because I still have my heater hoses connected here. And I'm going to drain those into a bucket. I'm going to end up doing the water pump and everything once, you know, the body is away. So for right now, these are going to be the last thing, including these. But I'm going to drain first. And then I'm going to separate these. So then I could separate the upper hose and the lower hose on the other side. So that way the radiator will be empty. And then I could take this grill and radiator, leave it completely connected. All I got to do is disconnect the power steering pump. You got 2 bolts on the other side. As soon as you take that out, you should be pretty free. Maybe there's a wire loom underneath there. And you could just unplug this stuff. And you can get it out of here. Alright, so it'll be out of our way. But for right now, I'm just going to focus on that wire down in there. Get that out. And then I'll focus on draining the heater. Alright, so right now, if you can't tell, I have the Jeep up on blocks on the body. Okay, so we got about 3.5 inch body lift here now. Just so I can see anything, you know, because the body mounts have to come out anyway. So I figured just stick this 4x4 in here, so that gives me about 3.5 inches of lift. And now I can really scope out on what's going to stop me from lifting this body up. So right here, like I said, there's a breather for the axle right behind the rear driver. Okay, so it looks like the exhaust. You have to take out those mounts up there by the muffler. Alright, obviously shifters have to come out on top of the chains. Okay. All wires look free. E-brake cable has to come out. And that's pretty much... Alright, so I got the electrical out. Just those 2 plugs. They're laying right there. I didn't have to... Well, I'm not going to label them because those are the only plugs that look like that on this Jeep, especially the ones that go through the firewall. So I'm not even going to bother labeling those because I know the hole that it goes to. I'm keeping the grommet on the line. And here, I have my heater hose. Took my clamps down. Alright, put them down here. And these heater hoses have probably been on here for a long time, so I'm going to end up getting new ones of these. But what I find is that the hose likes to stick on there, twist, turn, nothing. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take a screwdriver, I'm going to try and pry up on the heater hose just to kind of set it loose. Okay. A little twist. Up, down. There we go. Okay, this is either going to be really good or really bad. Oh, yeah. Okay. There we go. You can hear the breather going over there. Okay. We just want to get this drained out because, of course, we're taking the body off. So at one point the radiator has to come out as well. So we are gonna... Oh, that's it. Okay. We'll try this other one. The same thing, just from being on there forever. We just want to lift up the ends, to hopefully free up the hose. I don't care about damaging the hose either. I'm gonna get new ones. You know, you don't need a heater hose bursting on your way home from work.